Good afternoon and welcome to Not Minding My Own Business. I'm your host, Russell Farbiers, estate planning and elder law attorney, and I am joined here today by Susan Baer of a step above event
By
planning
Susan.
by
A step
Susan.
above by Susan, yes.
A step above by Susan.
Mhm.
So welcome to the show, Susan.
Thank you, Russell. Thank you for having me.
Sure, it's always a pleasure to get to talk to you.
Thank you.
So,
And to you as well.
thank you. So tell me a little bit about your business. What is it that you do?
Okay, so really it's full services event planning, but mostly people contact me to help them with weddings. And when I say that, it's really not the full-blown event planning aspect of a wedding. Most people know what they want for their wedding and they've already had it planned, they've already had it booked. The most important part for them and the reason they hire me is the day of coordinator.
Okay, see when you say wedding planner, I think of Father of the Bride, and that and I can't
Great
remember.
movie.
Yeah, great movie. I can't remember what his name was. Running around, with the French accent and
Yeah.
and
Oh,
whatnot.
Steve Martin.
Well, no. Steve Martin was the father, but there was
Right.
whoever the
Oh,
actual wedding planner was. I
yes.
can't remember who it was, but so the day of coordinator.
Correct.
So what does that mean? What do you do?
So basically what I do is anything from setup all the way to the end of the evening with tear down and putting things back together in boxes for the bride and groom. I pretty much have the timeline, follow the timeline, make sure everything runs on time, and any little snafus, I'm the one that takes care of them. Hopefully without most people knowing what's even going on, if anybody knowing. That's
So
the main reason.
that sounds stressful.
But you know me personally, I think, and you know that I don't do stress. I mean,
Nope.
internally, personally, a little bit, but not when it comes to something like that. The reason I named my business A Step Above is because I want to take anybody that I plan any event, party, anything for, my idea is to take it a step above what they imagine so that they can sit back, relax, friends and family, sit back, relax, and just have a great time.
So you take all the stress so that your clients can truly enjoy their day.
Exactly. I'm like a stress magnet.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. And you stay cool pretty well. So
I try, I've done an event for you already.
yes, you did. You
Just
did.
you just gotta go with the flow, and that's what I do. I'm a people person, so it helps.
Yeah, yeah. That absolutely does help.
Mhm.
So how did you get started in event planning?
Well, it's a little personal, but I don't mind talking about it. I knew that I would be going through a divorce, unfortunately, and I decided to go back to school and get my certificate in something I knew I would love to do. I worked for a school district, absolutely loved it, but I knew I would need something just a little bit more. So I still have my first real job, and then my event planning business is a part-time job for now. Hopefully will turn into a full-time job. But I've always just enjoyed people. And I always told my daughters while growing up, make sure that whatever it is you're going to do in life with work, it's something you enjoy and that will make you happy. And that's the reason I did this and went and got my certificate.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I enjoy what I do because I like helping people, and that's what
Yeah.
I get to do all day. And
Exactly. It's about compassion and empathy. You have to have
yeah,
both.
absolutely. And so now I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but how long have you been doing the event planning?
So It's over 4 years. When I first got my certificate, I did not start my business. I worked for a local brand new brewing company for their event planning. And after a year, I just decided, hey, what am I doing? I should just start my own business. So, with the help of my lawyer, aka you, which I'm not afraid to say, I got my my LLC, and I opened my own business right before COVID. But in hindsight, that wasn't a bad thing for me. It was
Eh,
stepping stones.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
I am sure now I'm sure you're as busy as ever because everyone is it wants to do events now because they weren't able to do them for a period of time.
they weren't, and everything is opening up now. It's really nice to see that people are allowed to get together, celebrate, and do all the things they did before. So yeah, it's getting busier. So yeah, I really like it.
What wonderful. What is the most unique event that you've coordinated?
Oh, it was a wedding. And this one was pretty much full blown event planning. I was contacted 60 days before the wedding. The bride, unfortunately, had so much stress going on that she didn't have time to do everything and called me in. And it was a very unique Harley Davidson wedding.
Oh,
It was. And it actually was a lot of fun. And I helped her plan what she envisioned, and it actually came out to be pretty nice. So
awesome. It's
yeah,
great.
so that was the biggest challenge so far because 60 days is not a lot of time.
No, no, I can imagine that being a lot to get together in such
Mhm.
a short period of time.
Yeah.
So what is something about your industry that the average person wouldn't necessarily be aware of?
I think what they're not aware of, a lot of people will contact to see what is it that you mean by day of coordinator. Like they kind of know what the title means, but they don't understand everything that goes into it. And depending on the event planner or day of coordinator, it's different. Like for me, literally, I take on everything to setting up every detail. Like I have decorated tables, I have hung the sheer drapery. I've done everything. I've sewn buttons on grooms' shirts. I've ironed a whole set of groomsmen pants. Like day of coordinator basically is you're there to take care of everything so everybody else can relax, can enjoy. And it's long. I worked one event from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m.
Oh,
Yeah,
that could
yeah.
be up
And
there. It's a long day.
it is a long day, but you know what? At the end of the day, you did what they didn't need anybody else within their family or friends to do. And I don't think a lot of people understand the whole realm of what day of coordinator means, at least to me.
Well, and obviously I didn't know exactly what it was. I had an image in my mind because I know when I got married, now that was 13 years ago,
Mhm.
we had a coordinator. Um, and I remember all I really remember is, her making sure everyone was lined up and saying go when we had to walk out to be to into the ballroom.
Yeah, and that is correct. I do that
Yeah.
as
But I know there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of moving parts.
well. Mhm.
So when we switch gears, I want to talk a little bit about you.
Okay.
Um, you were originally from the Berks County area, am I right?
Actually, from Hamburg.
You are from Hamburg.
Great.
Okay, I thought
Mhm.
so, but I
It's okay.
so what is your favorite part about living in the Hamburg area and growing up there?
Yeah, it was always the King Frost Parade. I gotta say, it was just one of the biggest, best parades on the East Coast. I mean, they still have it. Unfortunately, it's not as big, but it's a great time for family and friends to get together within the community. Now it's
So
Hamburger Festival, but back then, King Frost.
so King Frost Parade it actually will be coming up
Hmm.
um shortly because it's the last Saturday of October.
Yep.
And what is your favorite part about the King Frost Parade?
Well, when I was a little kid, it was going to my grandma's house and having all the yummy things she made. And then growing up, going through the different stages and phases in life through high school. And high school was when I was finally allowed to walk the parade route with
Hmm.
friends and hang with friends. And then, of course, when my girls were little, it was nice to take them there as well. So it was just, I think, just the memories of the parade and seeing people you haven't seen within the community.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
then the Hamburger Festival has been a nice addition over the last, have they done it? Was it 15, 20 years now?
At least that I don't
Yeah,
know the number, and you think I would know because I help with our town foundation. So
right.
you would think that I would know that number, and I'm sorry to say I don't, but I think I want to say 16.
Okay.
I want to say,
Uh,
but I'm not sure I'm
and
correct.
so how did it sort of come back this year? Because I there was a festival last year, if I remember, but I know there wasn't one in 2020.
Right. It was a smaller scale last year. I think just because a lot of people were still worried about COVID. But this year it was back, and I didn't see numbers or anything yet, but I think it was probably bigger and better than it's been, which is good to see. People just
Yeah,
enjoy it.
that is good to see. And
Mhm.
I'm sure your day of coordinating comes in very handy on Hamburger Festival Day.
Well, it's going to more now because I actually had shifted gears for a little bit and I was doing Berks Habitat for Humanity.
Hmm.
But now I've switched back and I'm doing full gear again with our town foundation.
Oh,
So I haven't been as in depth with them over the last few years.
well, that's one. I'm sure they're going to be thrilled to have you because
I hope so.
there's it's a big undertaking. What do they get? 10, 20,000 people in one day into the small borough of Hamburg. You
Yeah.
know,
And just having it flow properly, which she's done a great job with it, Dina Kirshner. She's
she has she's gotten it down to a science at this point.
She has, yeah.
So, what is your well, I'm going to ask you this. What is your favorite hamburger at Hamburger Festival?
Oh, that's not a fair question to ask.
It's
But you
not
know,
because
but
there's
I'm
some
gonna I'm gonna tell you why it's not a fair question to ask. Because I work it, so I don't really get to enjoy it and go do that and taste the
okay.
hamburger. Um, this year was the first year I had a burger, and I'm sad to say it was very, very good, but I don't remember the name of it because I was just happy I could finally go enjoy one. But yeah, I can't answer that. I'm so sorry. But I
Have
know
you
what a lot of people like, and that's the one with the donut.
the Luther?
That's it. That's what
That I was just going
people
to
really
ask you
like.
about the Luther if you've ever tried it because it
I haven't, because the line's always too long. Like till I'm done helping, the line is so long, and maybe what I should do is go there and stand in line before it opens to be the first one.
that's what you should do next year. But
Then I can try it and tell you.
yeah, but
You
I
had
did
one?
I tried it once. And what is it? I think it's a the bun is a
Wait,
donut and it's a hamburger. I think there's bacon on it too.
I
Uh,
think you're right.
and it was good. I don't know that I'd wait in the long line for it again, but it
Mhm.
was one of those things where you have to try it at least once.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. So
Yeah,
maybe next year.
next year. Well, and then what is your favorite restaurant in the Hamburg area?
So it's a restaurant that's not here anymore, but it's still one of my favorite places. So it's DeMeo's. They
Okay.
started in Hamburg years and years ago, and they are now in Origsburg, which is just a little ways up north from Hamburg, and it's now called DeMeo's Mustard Seed.
Oh, I did not know that that started in Hamburg.
It
I
did. It was probably before you were here.
Yeah, I've been to the Mustard Seed a number in Orangeburg a number of times, and
Yeah.
their food is excellent.
Oh, it
But
is. Jack and
yeah,
Leslie started in Hamburg. They were on 4th Street, 4th and Pine in the little corner.
mhm,
And then they moved down to 3rd Street, which is now currently where Culture Shock Dance Studio is.
okay.
And that was a big area. And they had a gazebo room in the back and reached out to me to do events for them back in the day. That's where I got the feel for
Oh
what I
wow.
wanted to do. I was a patron there and they're like, we like your personality and we're thinking about doing this. Can you come talk to us? And it's funny how that came back around now. And that is
Yeah.
what really made me decide, you know what? That is what I would really like to do.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Wonderful. All right. So what do you like to do when you're not working?
So most people will find this very interesting because I am girly girl, but on the inside, I'm tomboy. So I hike, I like to hunt, I like to fish. I last October I took a trip to Montana and I learned to
Oh,
fly fish, and it was so much fun. So I really enjoy the outdoors.
wonderful, wonderful. And there's a lot of outdoors in the Hamburg area to enjoy, so it's perfect.
The Appalachian Trail is like 5 minutes from my house. So
Hmm.
yeah, love it.
Absolutely. Uh, well, let's see what about you said you went to Montana, but what
Yeah.
other what is your favorite travel destination?
Well, it's out west, but with that said, anytime I get to travel to see either of my daughters, that comes first.
Of
So
course,
that would be Nashville, Tennessee, and Pittsburgh.
Nashville. That's a place that's on my list. I haven't
Is
been, but
it?
that's on my list.
It's a fun place and also a lot of Civil War history and other things other than just Broadway in downtown Nashville. There's a lot to see and do there. A lot of
Yeah,
music history that goes back to
absolutely.
Elvis. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, my daughter's a big Taylor Swift fan, so I
Oh,
think
wow.
she'd love to go into Nashville, and and we live probably 1 or 2 blocks over from where Taylor Swift grew up. So, that's we're in the Taylor Swift neighborhood.
Yeah, well, you know what? She's a really good idol for your
Yep.
daughter. Nobody
Yeah,
better than her because she has worked so hard all her life, and you've
absolutely.
got to get her to a show if she hasn't been. I've been to one. She's a great artist and performer.
We will get her to a show. It's been hard the last couple of years, but
Yeah.
she's actually been to two concerts with my wife in the last couple months. So
Okay. Oh,
so
fun.
so she's definitely into that.
Good.
So so well, Sue, this has been wonderful.
Thank
I
you.
have to say I've really enjoyed learning more about you. I've known you, but there are things that I obviously we didn't talk about,
Sure.
in our so it's really nice to get to know all these other things about you. Uh, what do you think people should be more aware of about what you do?
I think what people need to be aware of is that when they're looking for a day of coordinator, it really needs to be about how you get along. Like I've heard different stories from brides I've worked with, and they're like, I'm so happy I found you. My sister's day of coordinator just wasn't as friendly. She wasn't as this or that. I think when somebody is looking, and this just doesn't go for day of coordinator, it goes for anything. When you're looking to work closely with somebody, you have to get along. If I meet with a bride and a groom and there's just something that doesn't click, I myself would have the right to say, I'm sorry, but I just don't feel like we're the right mix because it's got to be trust. Like for me, they've got to trust me 100%. And I've got to feel just as comfortable with them in order to make everything move and flow properly for that day.
Well, yeah, it's very personal.
It
It's
is.
hopefully it's their only wedding day, and
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully. Doesn't always happen, but
I
hopefully.
know, I know.
But the other thing with me, Russell, I have to say is what every bride needs to know is they deserve to have that day of coordinator.
Mhm.
I had somebody come to me, I just did their wedding 3 weeks ago. They hired me a month ago because a friend of a friend was going to be their day of coordinator and then told them they couldn't do the event.
Oh
So,
my.
so it's also about being there when somebody needs it. And she's just like, well, are you sure you have it open? I go, and it was just a phone call. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know I do because it's my birthday week and I don't work. I said, but if you need a day of coordinator and you feel comfortable with having me, then we're going to make something work. And we did. And it was just one of the nicest bride and grooms I think I've worked with yet. They've all been wonderful, but they just were, and they were from out of the area and got married here because both their families are from here, but they are not. So it's
Hmm.
just a matter of working with and figuring out how you can make it work.
Yeah,
But
that,
yeah.
that that makes that makes sense. If any of our listeners are looking to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Well, I have social media. I've got my website, a step above by Susan at gmail.com. I also have, oh, I'm sorry, that was my email. My website is a step above by Susan.com.
Okay.
Right. And then the email, I think I said, is at gmail.com. They can look me up on uh, Facebook under A Step Above by Susan. I'm on Instagram on A Step Above by Susan. I was paying to be on the Knot, but I don't feel like you have to. But I believe they can still find me on the Knot as well. And just by calling 610-816-3400.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Susan. It was great,
Mhm.
great to have you on the show, and always great to catch up with you.
Thank you, Russ. So I really appreciate you having me. It's nice
All
to
right,
talk with you again.
absolutely, and thank you to our listeners for tuning into another episode of Not Minding My Own Business.
Great. Thank you.